Imagine one morning you wake up and everything you thought you knew about your life suddenly changes. One day you are just a normal kid at heart, even if you are born into a rich family, and the next you learn that a contract has been signed for your entire future. Now, what if right at that very moment, the one person who always made you feel special, your very first love, comes back like magic? Welcome to our story. Billionaire heir forced into marriage. Then, his first love returns in a surprising twist. So wild. Our story begins with our main character, Leo. Leo is not an ordinary young man. He was born into a very rich family. His dad is a billionaire, and his whole life seems decided for him before he even learns to ride a bike. One day, Leo receives a thick envelope from his parents. Inside, there is a legal paper, a marriage contract. Yes, a contract. It says that Leo must marry a certain lady because it is good for the family business and helps keep the huge fortune safe. Now, you might wonder, what is a contract? Imagine you and your friend agree to trade your toy car for a comic book. You both promise happily, and that is like a tiny contract. But when grown-ups use contracts, they write down many rules, and everyone has to follow them exactly. Leo's contract had many rules, and one rule said he had to get married to a girl he barely knew. Leo felt a mix of anger, confusion, and sadness. He was only a young man with dreams of exploring the world and doing what his heart told him, not what a piece of paper said he must do. And here's a funny side note. Imagine if you had a homework assignment that someone else wrote for you without asking. Feels both silly and wrong, right? Leo's heart pounded like a drum as he read the contract. He wondered, how could his future be decided by a piece of paper? What if his heart wanted something different? Let me tell you a secret about Leo. Long after the contract was read, Leo's mind flew back to his childhood. Before he knew what money was or what contracts meant, he had a best friend and a first love. Her name was Emily. Emily was kind, with eyes that shone like the stars on a clear night, and she always believed in magic and happy endings. When Leo thought about Emily, his heart felt warm, like when you wrap yourself in a favorite blanket on a cold day. Even though time had passed and he had grown into a rich young man, the memory of Emily stayed bright. It was as if a small, gentle light was shining inside him, telling him that love is something that never really goes away. Every time Leo walked in the grand halls of his family's mansion, he remembered the days when he and Emily played in the garden, laughing and chasing butterflies. These memories were like simple but precious treasures in his heart. At school, while other kids talked about video games or cartoons, Leo daydreamed about those simple moments with Emily. He started to wonder if the contract that bound him was fair at all. How could a piece of paper decide when his heart was already saying one thing? The big day arrived. In a huge fancy hall, Leo stood beside his family. The room was filled with important people, lawyers, and a sparkling table full of documents. Just like when you see a giant ice cream sundae, everything looked beautiful but very serious. Today, Leo was supposed to sign the marriage contract that would change his life forever. At this moment, Leo's best friend Max, a funny, supportive guy who was like a little brother to him, whispered quietly, "Leo, look, that staircase is like a magical door. I bet it leads to surprises." Max had a habit of making everything sound fun and magical, which sometimes made hard things seem a bit lighter. As Leo stood there holding the pen, his heart beat fast. He closed his eyes for a second and remembered all the times he had secretly wished for true love. Love that comes without contracts and without rules written by someone else. His mind raced as he thought, is it right to let a piece of paper decide who I love? Around him, the world was moving fast with fancy speeches and polite smiles. But inside Leo's mind, things were slowing down, and something unexpected was about to happen. Imagine you're playing your favorite game, and just when you think you know what will happen next, a new level appears. That is what happened to Leo. In the middle of the ceremony, the large doors at the back flew open. There, in the doorway, stood Emily, his first and true love. The room fell silent, like when you're on the edge of your seat, waiting for your turn in a fun game. Emily had come from far away. She was not dressed in fancy clothes, but her smile was warm and confident. The twist was real. Here was the girl who had once made Leo's childhood so bright. Emily's return felt like finding a rare treasure, a shining gem hidden in an old box. The tension in the room grew thicker than a packed playground during recess. Leo's eyes widened, and his heart screamed, Emily, it's you. He felt all sorts of emotions, joy, fear, hope, like when you suddenly get an extra piece of cake and aren't sure if you should eat it right away. In that very moment, Leo's inner voice, the one that always followed his true heart, told him that love is not something you can force with a contract. It is something free, like laughter or the wind on a sunny day. People started whispering. One elderly guest said, I remember the sweet young days when true love meant everything. And someone else added, maybe the contract is not the answer. The heart should decide. Even Max couldn't help but grin broadly. This is the best twist ever, he said with excitement. The unexpected arrival of Emily turned the whole ceremony into an unforgettable moment, one that would change everything. After the surprise, the busy room became quiet. Leo walked slowly toward Emily like a knight approaching a long-lost friend. The two of them met face to face under the soft glow of crystal chandeliers. Their eyes spoke more than words ever could. It was as though time itself had stopped just for them. Leo said in a soft voice, Emily, I have never forgotten you. Every time I closed my eyes, it was you I saw. Emily smiled and replied, Leo, even if your world is full of noise and contracts, my heart always beats only for you. At that moment, the contract seemed silly, a paper that tried to control something as wild and free as true love. Leo explained to the room, my heart belongs to Emily, and I cannot sign away what is inside me. His voice was steady, confident, and it echoed even in the silent hall. His parents exchanged worried looks. They had planned everything in a very technical way. The contract was written with many terms and conditions like in a big business deal. They thought every clause would protect the family's legacy. But here was a simpler truth. Not every promise on paper can capture the truth of feelings. It is a bit like trying to explain why your favorite cartoon makes you feel so happy. No words on paper can match the joy of laughter. For a moment, the important grown-ups all looked at Leo and Emily. They saw a spark that no contract could ever capture, the spark of a long-lost love that was meant to be seen and celebrated. Now, let's talk about decisions. Decisions are like choosing your favorite ice cream flavor. Imagine you have chocolate and vanilla, and sometimes you want both, but you only get one scoop. Leo was faced with a huge decision: follow what the contract said, or follow his heart, which was calling out for Emily. Here is where the story gets interesting. Leo knew that contracts are made with hard words and strict rules, but feelings, They are soft and unpredictable, like a gust of wind that suddenly changes direction. Leo understood that even though the contract was very important to his family and their business, it could never make him as happy as true love could. He took a slow, deep breath and then spoke clearly for everyone to hear. I know that our family needs me and that contracts are important, but my heart tells me that love must be free. I do not want to be forced to marry a stranger just because of the words on this paper. I want my love to be true, chosen by me, not made by someone else's rules. Some people in the room were shocked, while others began to whisper among themselves. Even the lawyers who always had an answer for every word fell silent. It was like everyone was waiting for a new chapter in a story they thought they already knew. In simple words, Leo was saying that life is not something you can put in a neat box. Feelings are messy and beautiful, like a big bowl of mixed fruit on a sunny day. And today, Leo chose to trust his own heart. While Leo spoke, his friend Max gave him an encouraging thumbs up from the side. Max had always believed that real life sometimes needs a little bit of chaos to bring out the best in us. After Leo's brave words, his parents called him for a private talk in the quiet study of their mansion. The room was filled with old books and soft light that made everything seem gentle. Leo's mother, with tears in her eyes, said, Leo, we love you very much. We arranged this contract because we thought it would bring you happiness and stability. But maybe, just maybe, we did not understand the true meaning of love. His father nodded slowly and added, contracts are important for business, but the heart is more important for life. It seems that you have taught us a big lesson today, my boy. The conversation was like a real-life lesson. Sometimes grown-ups need to learn from the young. Leo's honesty helped break the heavy walls of old rules. Soon his family began to see that if something is meant for the heart, no contract can hold it back. They talked through the evening, discussing how business needs can sometimes clash with love, but that love in the end makes life wonderful. They compared contracts to puzzles. Each piece must fit in the right place, but if the wrong piece is forced in, the picture just isn't right. Leo's puzzle piece, his heart, clearly did not fit in the contract's picture. The next day, everything seemed different in Leo's world. The contract was put aside. Instead of being a forced deal, it became a reminder that true love cannot be planned or forced. Leo and Emily were invited to share their story with the family, and even with some close friends and business partners. It was a meeting full of hope, smiles, and even a few laughs. During the celebration dinner, Max joked, I always thought that legal papers are as boring as math class, but today we turned it into a love story that even a cartoon superhero would envy. Everyone laughed and the atmosphere became light as a feather. Leo and Emily talked about their dreams. Emily said, I always believe that love is like the best adventure story. It has ups and downs, twists and turns, but in the end, it gives you courage. Leo nodded and answered, even the most important contracts in life can't stop a heart that truly loves. Today, I choose love, and that is the bravest decision I have ever made. People in the room cheered. It was a powerful moment when business met the art of the heart. Leo's decision brought not only happiness to him, but also made his family rethink how we decide what is best in life. Now think about this. Have you ever had to make a big choice? Maybe it was as simple as picking which game to play or which friend to trust. Every choice we make helps us learn about ourselves and what truly makes us happy. So what can we learn from Leo's amazing story? First, imagine that life is like a storybook. Sometimes other people try to write the chapters for you, just like that marriage contract. But you are the hero of your own story. You have the power to choose what happens next. Second, always listen to your heart, even when the rules say otherwise. Remember those times when you knew deep inside what you really wanted? That gentle voice inside is much wiser than any contract written by others. Third, let's talk about the word contract. It might sound very serious, like a set of rules written in a big book. But in life, some things, like love, dreams, and adventures, cannot be captured by words on paper. They have a magic of their own, wild and free, just like birds that soar above cloud-covered skies. I want you to remember that contracts, rules, and agreements are made to help us live in a fair world, but they are not always meant for our hearts. Sometimes, like in Leo's case, the heart's decision wins. And trust me, that is the most exciting part of any adventure. Let me give you another simple example. Think about your favorite story. The best stories are full of surprises where the hero learns something new and grows as a person. Leo's story is just like that. A story about finding yourself, being brave, and discovering that true love can't be forced. After Leo's big decision, life began a new chapter full of hope, freedom, and promise. Leo and Emily started planning their future together. They talked about traveling, exploring new ideas, and even about building something meaningful together that could help other people understand that love is priceless. Their journey was not without challenges. There were times when old family traditions and strict business rules came back to ask for attention. But every time these challenges appeared, Leo and Emily would face them together. They would sit side by side, often with Max cracking a silly joke to ease the tension, and remind everyone that love is not a burden, but a gift. Let's break it down in simple terms. Imagine you have a big, heavy backpack filled with rocks. Each rock is a rule or an expectation from someone else. Now, if you decide to put in a bright, shining rock of true love, suddenly the backpack feels lighter, even though it is still there. That is how Leo and Emily felt. They lightened the heavy load with the power of their love. It also taught Leo's family a big lesson. While business and money can build many things, the heart builds hope, trust, and happiness. They began to see that sometimes long-held ideas need to be changed when faced with the truth of love. The contract, which once seemed unbreakable, was redrawn with new ideas that allowed everyone's heart to feel free. The story of Leo and Emily soon spread far and wide. People started to say, if a billionaire heir can follow his true heart, then maybe even we can stand up for what makes us happy, the narrator says warmly, inviting every listener to think about their own choices. And here's the funny part. Even the strictest bosses might smile and say, well, I never thought a contract would be undone by a little bit of love and courage. So here we are at the end of today's amazing journey, a story with surprises, heartfelt decisions, and a twist that shows us how love can sometimes free us from even the strictest rules. Leo's brave choice teaches us that no matter how hard someone tries to plan our life with contracts or rules, our heart often knows what is best for us. Before we say goodbye, I want to invite you to pause for a moment and think about what truly makes you happy. Do you have a dream that no contract can hold down? Maybe a secret wish, a creative idea, or a safe place in your heart. Let that thought shine bright today. If you enjoyed this story and felt your heart warm a little, please click the subscribe button and join our family of amazing storytellers. Let's share more adventures together, where every twist and turn is a chance to celebrate life and love. Also, on the end screen, I have another video waiting for you, a story that dives even deeper into surprising twists and brave choices. Click on it and let the adventure continue. Thank you for listening. Thank you for believing that even when life is full of strict rules, love and hope always find a way. Until next time, keep dreaming, keep loving, and always follow your heart.